So, I recently posted a short video on the OLM 3 on the Ortur page or group, and a lot of my research I did long before even purchasing the Ortur 3 because of the known issues that people are having with the lens getting too dirty too quickly and then them cracking like the competitors are constantly doing in the D1. So I took that into consideration and I came up with an idea to take care of that issue, and it's working really well. But if you look here, let's see, hold on. You're on YouTube, the Louisiana guy, he's talking about this quite a bit, about how the air is coming down the side of the lens right here. So in theory it's a great idea, but the problem is these vents here and here on the bottom from the fans from the diode laser blowing all this air, and it's creating a vortex inside that shield, and the air coming down the side of this lens, somehow it's sucking it right back up inside where the lens is, creating this halo effect, which is common when your lens gets dirty and not properly clean. Well, it cracks, and then you're stuck with a lens that's busted and causes issues with your laser. So after everything I'd seen on the Ortur, it was very intriguing about the design, but as much as I want to like this design, it's not helping. It's actually somehow creating a problem. Also on the nozzle that screws on here, the hole where the airflow comes out in the laser, the diameter is way too big. It could be a lot smaller to condense the focal point of that pressure for cutting. And so I started thinking, what could I do to make this issue go away, but still be able to have all the wonderful things that we like about the new machine. So, that being said, here's my my machine. What I've done is I put another nozzle on it over the original nozzle that screws into the diode. So the original is still there, but I have another nozzle over it, and then I just ran the air tube down the side. Now the original plug here where the air line goes in, I leave that in there, and I've had a lot of success. I've cut quite a bit of material. Ooh, I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. There we go. But I'll set up my camera over here and I'll take the diode off and I'll show you what I mean here. So here's the diode off of the machine. And as you can see, it looks almost factory. This came off of the D1. That's how I was able to do this. And I'm pretty sure you can buy these from their website, the Air Assist by itself. I'm not sure, you have to look. But what I did, just unscrew this here. The original nozzle is inside. And all I did was wrap tape around it to fill up the void on the bigger nozzle. Put a screw in there to keep it all centered and secured and sealed up. But if you look in there, that lens is nice and clean. I don't know if it'll focus on it or not, but it's very clean, which is wonderful because now it's bypassing the air around the diode instead of through it. And now I can take this off maintain it, clean it whenever I need to do, just by screwing it on and off, because the original nozzle is there with this on there. So I did have some trial error with this because some of the nozzles are bigger. The original nozzles that came with the D1s were a lot longer in this. So the problem I was having is the focal point was way off and the nozzle was hitting the material, which you can't have that. So if you guys are going to make this modification, I'm going to help you out. Got this little guy. We're going to measure this nozzle. So at a minimum, because this one does work. Let's see here, I'm going to measure it. I'm getting 31.7 millimeters. I don't know if you can see that on there or if it's going to be reversed on the camera, but it's 31.7 millimeters is the length of that bad boy. And it will work. So just by doing this, I have eliminated the lens problem completely. I don't think I'll ever have to buy a lens replacement for this machine. And if anyone's wondering what this is, it's just something I got at the Harbor or at the Home Depot. It's a mount for wiring, for where the wire goes through the pipe. And I just put 3M tape on both sides to stick it on the diode. And that way the cable goes in there and it doesn't get put on a bind when it's running back and forth. Because I had one instant where it popped out on me when I was running at 20,000 millimeters a minute. So now I have a very wonderful machine. And I've got some material here that I can show you. Hold on one sec. So this is chalkboard right here. And I got it from Home Depot, and that's 5 millimeters basically. And this is birch plywood. This is 6 millimeters that I cut out with it. And then I've ran a bunch of tests. Here's some slate coaster that I've been doing. This was on negative, this one was normal. And then I did my tile. The video that I shared was a tile. This one was a little tricky, trying to figure out the settings on that one, but it turned out great. And this one here was a test run with birch with borax to get a really dark image for photos. And then just some more test cuts. And then this one here is the canvas, painted canvas. White coat. First coat is white, second coat is black. And here's my practice runs that I did before I posted that one that I shared with the group. And this is on the white side of the chalkboard. And it turns out wonderful. This hasn't been treated with a clear coat. So if you guys are out there and you want to do the chalkboard effect, which gives you the look like tile, you have to be very careful when you're working with this because it will smear and get on your hand. It'll distort the image. I did a couple other practice runs, but again, these are all user error. I had some issues with my belts. They were too tight. And so I was having some other problems with the port. The computer kept wanting to talk to the machine when it was running, and Lightburn was trying to talk to it as well. Oh, by the way, a side note, if you guys are having issues with these obscured lines, it's because you have to upload, or not upload, but you have to manually add your machine to light burn. You can't use it automatically, or you're going to get these lines. Because you'll notice if it does it automatically, you don't have constant power in your settings to turn on and off. So that could be part of your problem that you're having. Or if you're having power issues and it just shuts off for no reason when it's running, it's because the computer is showing up in your file under, if you go to your computer where it says this PC, it'll show your storage. It'll also show the Ortur on there, and it shouldn't be on there when the machine is just running. The only time that should show up is when you're updating a firmware. If it's on there and it's accessible while your machine is up and running, it's going to create issues. It's going to communicate. Your computer's going to try and talk to it and say, hello, are you there? Basically, and it's going to interrupt your burns. So you need to make sure you disable that when doing so. And then I have some cut files here too I was going to show you on my birch. Here are the cuts. I didn't have too much luck at 300, but I did do pretty good at 200 millimeters a minute. And you notice how nice and clean these cuts are. They're nice and crisp. These aren't so much, but the ones that cut did. See how clean it is on the back? That's what you want. You want a nice clean cut. Here's some other stuff I was just practicing, messing around with. And then I tried to do a 11 by 14 canvas, and I had some communication stuff going on in the background. As you can see, it started messing with my image, so that one was kaput. A lot of things that you guys see on the group complaining and whatnot about issues, it's always 90% of the time user error, and that just comes with experience. You know, I've been doing this for 4 years, and I had the original Ortur, the first one that they had, and it's just trial and error, user error most of the time, but there are occasions where you'll have issues, and this machine is without no exception. The firmware, the computer trying to talk to it, when Lightburn's trying to talk to it, it will cause problems. I've had to get tech support involved in that. But just kind of to explain to you what I mean by that, I'll show you here real quick. If you look here on your computer and you go to File, under here where it says this PC, right here it shows your Windows. It shows, on here it shows my PC, and then it shows my backup, my hard drive. If you're having one over here showing up when your machine's on, that's going to cause problems. The only time that should show up is when you're doing a firmware update by pressing the reset and the power button in a series of 3 or 4 seconds. I can't exactly remember what. But I'm going to turn on my machine right now real quick. It just turned on. We'll pull up Lightburn. So as you can see, I'm not connected yet, so I'm going to go in here and connect it. And now it recognizes it. It says I'm there. Okay. Now, if you look in my folder, the machine's on, it's plugged into the computer, but it's not showing up here. If it shows up here after you've done a firmware update or something, or for some reason it's on there, you need to right click on it, go to More, go to Properties, and let's see if I can try and find it to help you guys out here. Is that under advanced? Well, this is going to look different than the Orturs, but I do know that you will right click on this, so you'll just have to play with it, but you'll go to show more and then you go to properties, and somewhere in one of these subfolders you're going to go in there and find it, and you're going to just disable it, and then it'll no longer show up on here. That doesn't mean that it's not going to still communicate with the machine. It's just going to disable it so that the computer is not trying to say, hello, are you there? I'm ready to receive or send firmware to you, is basically what's happening in a nutshell. You don't want it showing up on here. And it fixed it for me. I no longer have interruptions in the middle of a burn. And you definitely don't want that. And for most of you, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but you can connect this over the Wi-Fi without having a cable even connected. You have to go into here, into your comms. I'm going to move this closer. And you have to type in a bunch of commands. And if you ask tech support, they'll help you, walk you through it. But it's not that hard to do. And then you'll be connected right here. See, it says I'm on Wi-Fi. And then away we go. But anyhow, with the airflow issue being resolved, this video is way too long now, I'm sorry, but it'll probably help you out too if you're having communication issues or your machine just stops for no reason. It's more than likely because the computer's trying to talk to it when Lightburn's trying to talk to it at the same time. Hopefully this will help you guys. Just keep burning, keep practicing. Those people that are out there that are new, it's trial and error, and always remember, ask for help as much as you can. It's usually user error most of the time. It's not the machine. Have a good one.